everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Speech Stars for Kids. My name is Mrs. Kat. I am a licensed and board-certified speech-language pathologist. I work in a pediatric setting in my own private practice, and I am so happy that you decided to join me for today's video, where we will be discussing 3 tips to help your toddler communicate at home. So the first tip that I have for today is probably one of the most highly recommended tips that I give to parents in my practice personally. And it's also something that I feel like it may seem sort of obvious, but it's also something that parents tend to do a lot of times, which is they tend to help their child without providing the child an opportunity to even request or to even communicate their wants to the parent. I feel like naturally, I am a parent, right? And naturally we know what our child wants or needs throughout the day. And I'm not talking about daily necessities. Of course, if it's something that they need, please give them their daily meals and their daily, activity, whatever it is that are necessities, please provide it to them. But if it's just something that they want, let's say fruit snacks or a bag of chips, or they want a certain toy, instead of just giving it to them when you see that they want it, try encouraging them to communicate. I do this all the time in my own private practice, and I also encourage parents to do it at home, literally all the time. One way that I implement this is inside of my office, I have a toy closet that's locked. It has a child lock on it. But in order for the child to access the toys, they have to request for me to open. And depending on the child and where they are developmentally, it might look different for them to request. But if the child wants to get into the toy closet, 9 times out of 10, I am using that as an opportunity to get them to express what it is that they want before I just go and open it, right? Of course, I see that they're standing right in front of the closet. I know that they want a toy, but I will first just look at them and see if they can just independently tell me to open. But if I see that they're having a little bit of a hard time, I might provide them more support, more cues without actually helping them. So I might ask oh, do you need help with something? Oh, do you want Miss Cat to open? And then if they tell me open, okay, Miss Cat, and then I'll just go and open it immediately. And we want to try to meet the request immediately after they say what it is that they want, so that they can pair in their brain, oh, I said it, and then this action was done, and it will be a positive reinforcement for them. So in the future, they'll be more inclined to tell you what it is that they want, so that way they can get access to what it is that they want. The second one is to use simple repetitive language around the house and while doing daily activities. So this might be while you're playing with bubbles, ready, set, blow, and then blow the bubbles, and then put the little wand back in, ready, set, blow, and then blow the bubbles. But then after maybe 4 or 5 times after you do it, you want to ready, set, and then see if the child can imitate or see if the child can say blow by themselves after you've done it so many times, because that simple repetitive language will eventually get ingrained in their brain, and they can already kind of anticipate what it is that you're going to say. I do this all the time with various activities. Bubbles is definitely one of the ones that I do it with, but there's many different activities that I might do this with. But simple repetitive language is definitely the key for learning language, language acquisition. I would say not just with expressive language, but all forms of communication or all forms of activities that you're learning. Once you repeat it over and over and over, you get it, right? I'm sure you've probably heard of the saying, what is it, practice makes perfect. The more you practice it over and over, or the more that you hear something over and over, you'll get the hang of it. So that's another tip that you can always try at home. And if I could make a recommendation on the number of words, I probably wouldn't do more than 3 to 4 words in a phrase when you are doing this repetitive language that you're using with the child. And then the third tip that I have for today is to to the best of your ability, right? Because I know every situation is different, but to the best of your ability, try to limit screen time down to maybe an hour per day, not per 6 months or 6 hours per day. Please, if you can, screen time, which is tablets, cell phones, TV time. Screen time is a very passive way of learning, meaning that you're just kind of like watching the screen, but it's not really eliciting, it's not forcing you to elicit any type of like action or expression, right? So when you're just sitting there watching TV, you don't have to talk. All you have to do is just watch it. And because of this, it's not the most ideal if you're trying to get a child to learn how to expressively communicate their wants or their needs. Miss Rachel and different TV shows along those lines are really pretty good, right? They're better than just non-educational shows. However, the only issue with shows that are on the screen is that regardless of whether or not the child responds, the program is going to continue, right? The TV show is going to continue. So Miss Rachel might pause and be like, oh, what is this? It's a dog. She's going to continue with the program whether or not the child says dog. But if you're right in front of the child and you're kind of playing with them and you're like, oh, what is it? It's you can pause as long as you want until the child says dog, or you can help them say dog, or you can modify it according to the child, right? So it's just a little easier to be in person doing activities one-on-one with the child, or even letting them go and play outside where they can engage with their peers, or other social activities and other social settings where they can pick up on language and also express themselves, as opposed to just being in front of a screen for hours on end. So again, I know this is something, some parents work from home, and so it might not be the most practical tip, but to the best of your ability, to limit screen time can definitely help to improve a child's expressive communication. Not just limiting screen time and then having nothing to replace it with, but replacing it with in-person, hands-on activities that the child can do, and really talking and playing and really using lots of different words and silly sounds to get the child to engage and hopefully express themselves. So those are the 3 tips that I have for today. Hopefully they were really helpful. If you practice any of them and you notice that you're seeing a difference in your child's communication, please post it in the comments below. I would definitely love to hear about it. If you have any additional questions or comments or concerns regarding your child's communication, you can definitely talk to your speech-language pathologist or a pediatrician. I am a speech-language pathologist, but I'm not your speech therapist, so please make sure that you talk to the appropriate people who can help you out with these things. If it is just a general question, you're also welcome to post it in the comments, and if it is something that I can help out with, I would be more than happy to help. But that is all for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me ramble on. Hopefully these were helpful tips, and I hope to see you guys next time for my next video. Have a great one. Bye.